Ladies and gentlemen, purgers of all ages, it's that time again. Get those grief boxes and those yellow flowers ready because we are celebrating Remembrance Day on a very special episode of the Purge After Show, so stick around.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Y'all know what time it is. It's Tuesday night. The siren. Where's our siren? Can we get a siren, Ryan?
This is a little too happy for me.
It's Remembrance Day.
Oh, and see, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's just a little bit after the Purge. We're remembering those we lost in the Purge. Guys, we're so happy to be back. We're happy for you to be back as well. My name is Ty Matthews. Joining me, as always, not the full squad, but we got the squad here. We're representing here. On my left, you can find us talking about My Hero Academia and, of course, How to Get Away with Murder. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jamie Gray.
Hey, the squad is here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to her left, on the far end of the table, he'll be back later on with his signature segment.
Of course.
Purge or Purify. You can find him also talking about My Hero Academia as well as Total Divas. Ladies and gentlemen, Ollie Drennan. That needs to be the regular. There we go.
Here we go.
See, now we can get into it. Now it's a Purge After Show.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
The horn is for the late siren. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Oh man, guys, let's get into it. Let's talk about Grief Box. Do we have general ideas, general reactions to the episode? What'd y'all think?
I feel like so many people are triggered.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Marcus, I like that we get this flashback on his character and his ex-wife, because we were all kind of wondering what happened to her. Was she purged?
Right.
She's still living. So I think that just learning all these things about these characters, Ben, he's also still triggered. All of the trauma, everything is coming back full circle.
Ben slipping further and further.
And Remembrance Day is almost kind of symbolic to that, because they're all remembering things from their past and how it's coming back to haunt them. So I thought it was a great episode and so much happened. So we got a lot to get into.
Absolutely. Ollie, what'd you think?
I know. Well, I think, now I'm already thinking about predictions.
I know.
Of Jamie.
See,
no.
This after show is so predictions heavy.
I know, right?
We gotta contain ourselves.
Well, I think, my theory, no. I enjoyed this episode. I think it's kind of raising more questions, but also continuing to answer them. Like Jamie brought up, we met Tanya, which we'll talk about. But also, I'm already wondering, where the heck is... I feel like all the characters kind of are embedded within the web, but I'm wondering more about Ben, and I'm definitely disliking Ben now, for sure.
Get it
as
together.
we'll talk about. But I'm wondering, how does he connect to everyone, other than kind of being friends
as far as how he connects to Marcus, Esme, everyone. That's true.
And
That's
Marcus,
a good point.
He's kind of buddy, air quotes, with Darren.
Marcus. So Darren is Marcus's son.
Yeah, Marcus's son, but that's about it. So I'm wondering how more is he connected.
Yeah, that's kind of, and I think that may be the only connection, is that Ben and Darren are sort of classmates, stuff like that. What I love about this episode is we keep getting more and more these little details of the universe of the Purge. We talk about it every week. We got even more. We've got this whole kind of sub-holiday, this sort of tertiary holiday in Remembrance Day, 3 months after the Purge. If you've lost someone on the Purge, you get this little, I guess, grief box that has a picture of them. It's got a little urn of what may or may not be their ashes, based on the cold open in the episode, based on how they were shoveling those ashes into those wheelbarrows. But what's interesting is that it's this whole the commercialization of the Purge is one of the things that I think the movies and the show has really touched on. And we get that whole, you've got the grief boxes, you've got the yellow flowers instead of the blue baptisias for the Purge. It's those little things, it's the little things that really build out kind of the world. The constant references to the 28th Amendment, we hear when Darren's talking about Professor Adams' violence studies, he's talking about people that grew up with the 28th Amendment. It's these little details, that keep kind of building up this universe that I really enjoyed. So man, where do we start? Who do we start with?
Man.
Well, first off, shout out to the Purge, the national holiday, making more holidays
Of course.
with
Yes.
Remembrance Day.
If the NFFA is going to do anything, it's going to create more holidays for them to profit off of.
And it's funny that Remembrance Day reminds me so much of Dia de los Muertos, Day
Sure.
of the Dead, because
Yeah.
that just wrapped October 1st, 2nd.
Right.
Kind of how you celebrate it with your friend, though.
Man,
That's what it reminded me of.
Side note, not to get too on a tangent. I drove by the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. There's a Dia de los Muertos celebration there. Packed, just shoulder to shoulder. So many people. Shout out to Amy Cassandra, my former co-host. She was there. Yeah. She had her Calavera paints on.
Elena Jordan, another AfterBuzz host.
Of course,
she was there
too.
But
not ready for October to be over.
Right.
Anyway, you know what, Lou? We talked a little bit about Ben, so let's get into Ben, what we saw from him, what we saw from Turner, and also this like anti-purge sentiment. You know, we've got these anti-purgers there at the party. What did you guys think of everything here?
I mean, I think it's all really interesting. And again, I love the whole perspective that the Purge is giving us this season. With this movement, I will say, for the anti-purge, it's like that's a thing, too. Kind of like how we have our cancel culture here. People might agree with it or may not agree with it, you know, for our generation. But you know, it's still a movement and still necessary. So for her to, it's almost like campaigning, you know, to purge or not to purge. So I loved it. I thought that with Ben, you know, just with him being so triggered with him and Turner, I thought there were many instances where he was going to kill, you know, even maybe his girlfriend or, you know, just other people at the party. I thought he was going to go off the deep end even sooner. So it's just getting worse and worse.
Definitely. Ollie, what you think?
I agree with my girl Cassandra in the chat. She says Ben is getting a high off killing everyone.
Oh, God, yes.
And gosh, like, you are who you surround yourself with. I mean, he met his new friend at the shop.
Oh, yeah.
With that, he was like holding the bow and arrow. Not the bow and arrow. It was like
the crossbow?
Yeah. The automatic crossbow, right?
Some Daryl Dixon action
right?
there.
And so that guy was creepy, too, because he brings up something that scares the crap out of me about the Purge. What do people think about throughout the entire year? And this character freaking answers that question. He is thinking about someone who effed him over, and 364 days out of the year, he's thinking, how am I going to kill this person on Purge Night?
Right.
That's terrifying. That's literally something that he thinks about every single day.
And he's so casual about it,
right.
too. The fact that he's going in, he's dapping him up for purging, for just being in the Purge USA store.
Like, what did that person do? Did he get your order wrong?
Right.
Like,
probably.
You do not want to screw with anyone throughout the year. So it's he's just like, and then Ben's creeping me out, too, because he's like, hey, you want to go to a party and celebrate Remembrance Day with drinking? And so I'm just like, oh, God. Like, Ben, this new friend. I don't even know if we got the friend's name.
I don't know if we did. I didn't catch it.
But bad vibes.
Let us know in the chat if y'all did. I love in the Purge USA store the fact that they're giving like 20 to 80% discounts in honor of Remembrance Day, like cashing in on the holiday that's meant to honor the people killed on the Purge to make it easier to kill people on the Purge.
The NFFA, man.
Yeah.
They're smart.
Well, and speaking of the NFFA, let's talk about the farmer that we saw Ben kill last week. And the fact that conveniently we find out that he died of heat stroke.
Which is wild to me. I was like, wait a minute, did I hear this correctly? Because I'm like, which I think it freaked Ben out because he's like, well, then was someone watching him?
Right.
Or, you know, how did this get covered up, especially the day after Purge? So it's just a hot mess, but yeah.
Did I catch that correctly, though? I was watching it and it said 3 months, like missing? Was that correct? Or I heard 3 months that the person was missing, the berry farmer.
I don't know.
I know. So Remembrance Day is this episode. Remembrance Day is 3 months after the Purge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that's interesting because time is moving fast.
Right.
So it's cool. Like, okay, so save it for predictions. But anyway, that's so funny because it's like they covered it up.
Exactly.
It's exactly what the NFFA they covered it up. So they just wanted to make it seem like violence and murder isn't happening at all throughout the year.
Which is exactly, and we'll get into that a little bit, but it's exactly what Darren was talking about with Esme. The fact that these statistics might be completely bogus, they might be falsified just to present this illusion that the Purge is letting it all out and letting people kind of be less violent over the year, when of course we know that's not the case.
Right, that they're hiding it all. And that's the thing. It's like you think that things are getting better, but they're not. One thing I also noticed, just to kind of reference anime as well, but
yes, please.
Ben is almost creating like in a sense, a death note. You know, he's writing down the names of the people that he wants to kill, and then he'll make those plans, just like his friend is influencing. So he has terrible influences. I just don't see him getting any better. But that scene with him and Turner, in that room, I honestly was kind of hoping he would go through with it because I was like, I mean, you're already there. He did screw you over. He did leave you. And honestly, like, I don't know how you guys will react, but let us know in the comments. But just that whole thing, and I think that he didn't go through with killing Turner because, Turner said that his brother was purged. And it's like, is that even true? It's like, yeah.
I think so. And I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of Turner's apology, because it seemed, for as much of a dick as it turned out that Turner was in these last few episodes, it seemed like this was at least a little bit of a turning point. Like, yes, he's still a complete creep, but his apology seemed heartfelt, and it did seem like he got that grief box,
right.
And so he's in mourning on Remembrance Day.
If you got a box, I believe you.
Right.
If you got a box. I mean, he wasn't. It showed a lot about Turner, and kind of I felt some sympathy for him. He's crying. He's not partying, drinking. You would think that like if it didn't mean anything, like the box.
Well, I thought he had been drinking. I thought we saw him like stumbling up the steps.
I mean, he was sad drinking, which is something I do a lot.
Relatable.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's not killing anyone, unlike like freaking Ben, for instance.
Right.
But it was interesting that it showed some humanity still left in Ben.
Yeah.
He's not completely foregone because he didn't kill Turner. He wanted to kill someone else.
He wanted to. I like that he was like, get out. Got it. Hurry up.
I thought for sure that Turner was going to be onto him when he started pointing out, like, you're cutting limes with a hunting knife?
Yeah.
And then, like, Ben was so easily able to kind of, like, oh, yeah, is that weird? Like, he was so able to convince him that that's what he was doing.
He scared me
right?
in that scene because his whole face, he was just like, he looked happy but, like, nervous. It was, great acting.
Yeah, he was smart, though. I feel like he probably didn't kill him also because they were in the party house. Like, the party was
I think
like you can't really kill someone upstairs.
That's probably more so what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that his heart softened. It was the fact that there are a shitload of witnesses here.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till this anti-purger is walking alone in this hallway.
I take that back. Ben's smart.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, do not come for the social justice warrior character.
And I think that speaks to what we've been saying, is that this was in Ben all along. It was just that night that really kind of brought it out.
Had it all along.
Because he is being methodical about all of this. The farmer, that might have been something out of the heat of the moment.
It was.
This was premeditated. Yikes.
I mean, God.
And we keep getting the God mask.
She didn't deserve it.
Of course. We keep getting the God mask reappearing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I think that, that's obviously, what Ben keeps slipping into, this God complex, the fact that he can take life so easily.
I mean, he can choose when and when not to do it.
Right. And one other thing that I'd like to talk about before we shift gears to another subplot is the fact that when Turner apologized to Ben about ditching him on Purge Night, Ben's response was, "I lived." And once again, I feel like Ben is speaking on multiple levels. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he didn't mean I don't think he just meant that he survived.
Right.
I think he meant he actually lived for the first time.
When he purged.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's scaring the hell out of me.
Ben. Oh, man. We'll see.
I don't know if there's any saving him.
I
got a prediction.
I can't imagine. I think the only person that I think could have saved him at this point is Professor Adams, and she gone. So
she gone.
So
along with a lot of other people.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Maybe Esme. Who knows? But Ben is. I think we're inching closer and closer to Ben being kind of the big bad of the season, as it were.
Big bad Ben.
Gotta
be someone.
Unreal. Let's see. Where should we go from here? Let's let's talk about Marcus. Let's talk about Marcus and his.
That was a good episode.
His quest for who hired his purger.
Who was trying to purge me?
Right. What did you guys think? What did you guys think of Tanya, by the way?
Okay, just from a black woman's perspective, I was like, yes, a real sister. Well, his current wife is a real sister as well, but it was just like, oh, wow, like, different. And I think it showed his humble beginnings as well, because even when they were trying to protect themselves from Purge Night, they had little to no protection. They had a gun, thank God, but they looked like they barely knew how to use it. The family is all cramped into, this home with, like, even where Marcus's son was like hammering nails, it just showed his circumstances and how even back then he wanted to upgrade his life, and Tanya wasn't really for that. She wanted to be somewhere where she knew that was comfortable. And then to see where he lives now, it's kind of foreshadowing into maybe like, who did he become? He seems so different from the people that he used to be around. And so, I think that could tie into predictions and also who could have been in that truck, because it wasn't that other guy.
It wasn't Andre. Nope.
Yeah,
because I knew, and that's when that truck popped up. I was like, we never saw that Jamaican flag before.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Maybe he just added that.
Exactly.
Right, because I'm like, who has a Jamaican license plate?
Throw him
Like,
off
what if the cops pull you over? So yeah. But yeah, poor Marcus. It's very, very interesting. But I love the throwback. I loved it all.
Absolutely. Ollie, what'd you think?
It was interesting, like Jamie said, kind of to find his humble beginnings, and it made me kind of. I think we kind of saw like how more of the lower middle class kind of deal with the purge. They might not have the financial capabilities of having that shelter, the bomb shelter. They literally have to do the tooth and nail to protect themselves, and it made me sympathize with like the neighborhood of how close the neighborhood was. They were all together, just fighting that. What 12 hours the purge lasts.
Right.
It was so kind of, it made me feel for this poor like lower middle class family, and this was really refreshing to see like a 14 years ago, right? It was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And how much he's just grown from that. So I'm wondering if who it could be. Maybe they're jealous of Marcus's life now. I don't. It was nice. It was also nice to kind of meet Tanya, because she seems very humble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
She seems very nice. She calmed down.
Yeah.
The infiltrator of that particular purge night, and I was wondering.
Yes,
maybe,
Eli. Yeah.
Maybe Tanya has something to do with the hit, but it gave us a lot of fleshing out of his backstory and also learning about Tanya.
Yeah, I think that was one thing that definitely jumped out at me. I think a lesser show would have maybe vilified Marcus's first wife or made her kind of a little more one-dimensional. I like that we actually got a sympathetic character, someone that we liked, someone that we rooted for, that things between her and Marcus might not have worked out, but at least as far as we know right now, it wasn't really either their fault. That's what, I love that. It's also, as you mentioned, a great, I think, source of tension when we see households in the Purge universe and they only have, like wood over the windows.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen the original Purge film, spoilers, I guess if you haven't, it's kind of weird if you haven't and you're watching this, but we saw that even the high-tech sand and security systems don't stand up against a dedicated attack. So when it's just 2x4s over the windows, like, that amps up the tension and the anxiety to
totally
me.
did.
Exactly. That chainsaw cut right through.
That scared me. And it's like, I will say that this is probably the first time in a long time, since maybe the first or second Purge movie, where I was genuinely scared for like a group of people.
Right.
Because you had kids, you had the elderly in there, and they're just running around. Like it's like, that looks very realistic, because that would probably be me, like, oh my gosh, where do we go?
Sure.
And just seeing that chainsaw, whew. Yeah, my nerves were through the roof.
Right. And I think the idea that it's become this weird, almost sort of tradition, like batting down the hatches for the Purge, I think has become kind of a thing. Like, all right, invite everyone over, let's get everyone together, get the kids away from the windows, like little Darren's hammering away at the boards, and it's not weird to anyone. Marcus isn't a fan of it, but it's not popping out as weird to anyone.
And I think that's the main thing, is like, he had always thought about just the future purges. The purge takes over your life. It's something you have to plan about forever, unless you're able to move out of the country. So,
right.
I kind of wish that him and Tanya could have been on one accord about that. So I kind of want to know more about what happened with that, and did we even see what happened with Eli Coleman and Tanya?
Tanya talked him down. He took off the mask, and it just seemed like that's kind of where they left it.
Yeah, well, he got a name, so he might be showing up predictions.
And that's the thing, in a meta kind of way. Like, we're not getting a first and last name without something happening.
Right.
Maybe, who knows?
He signed a 2-episode deal.
Right.
3-episode deal.
Right. Exactly. But we find out later on that Tanya tells Marcus someone was asking for him around last August. So it's been if theoretically the purge is in March, we're in June right now. Remembrance Day is in June. That's about 10 months since the last time someone was looking for him. That screws up his whole timeline, screws up his whole list of suspects. So he has to go back to square one in terms of looking for who it was that hired Diedrich Haywood, as we found out, the guy who tried to purge him. His name was with the scar on his hand. Goes on the Ivory Road. We find out he's offering both money and pharmaceuticals in exchange for information about who might have put the hit out on him. So he's kind of like lying with the dogs, as it were, on the Ivory Road.
Great.
Yeah.
It's a nice little Craigslist ad he put out there. A Facebook posting group,
Right.
Sometimes you just gotta, even in the Purge world, they have it.
Exactly.
Gotta just brand it and just just start out your business or whatever.
Right.
Fiverr.
Right. So let's talk about Esme and how she's working with Darren to find out more about the death of Professor Adams, more about her study, and eventually what's happened to Olivia Hughes. What did you guys think of all of this?
I mean, it's just so crazy that everything is surrounding Miss Adams like this. I mean, you just wonder kind of how is everyone involved with this. When she had the list, I didn't know fully what to think of it, but when we're starting to see that all of them are deceased and it just keeps going and going, that's what makes it scarier. So I mean, and just the fact that she was bold enough to even go to these to these homes and put herself in those situations, it made me more scared for her.
Yeah,
especially seeing that one guy kind of confront her. It's like, did he smell a body? Did he sense it? Like who has anything to do with this? So
sure
yeah. It's a lot.
Ollie, what'd you think?
I think, she's going to kind of find a similar path as to Marcus, because I feel like both of their characters are at some point, they're going to have to get their hands dirty. And we're seeing this. She's already being watched now that she's done all this research.
Oh, for
now
sure.
She's found Olivia dead, murdered.
Right.
Murdered.
Right.
Yeah.
We know for
Not
sure.
suicide.
But of course, we come to find out that the what was it? I wrote it down. Estrada, when she called him, it was a suicide.
Oh, yeah.
He knew about her sister.
Yep, everyone's watching. The fact
That's
that she's using NFFA computers on company time to use facial recognition to find the people that were
With
involved in
their
the study.
Wi-Fi.
And her
Like,
boss.
Come
her
on,
boss knows.
you know more than anyone what the NFFA is capable of. You think they don't see everything you're doing right now?
Yeah.
Like, it ain't just like they see everything. You're not just when you're just browsing Facebook on company time. Everything.
And it's like this on company time, like on their clock. You're just
She's
using
bold.
your
Yeah.
literally they're paying you.
And
you're,
so, yeah, exactly. But we saw her boss watching her. We like from the webcam, from the camera on her computer. He knows what's going on. Estrada obviously knows what's going on. So yeah, just to kind of recap, just to kind of rewind a little bit, Darren and Esme, they're going over the brain scans that Esme found at Professor Adams' house or apartment, whatever her residence was, and they're finding out that people that purge aren't just getting it out and then chilling the rest of the year. It's lighting up that receptor in their brain and making them more violent. In theory, that's what the study's positing over the course of the rest of the year. As we saw with Olivia's quote unquote suicide, as we saw with the farmer that suffered, supposed heat stroke. It seems like just violent crimes in general are being covered up just to present, like I said, that kind of idyllic utopian illusion that no, everything's fine. Everyone just kills. It's 12 hours a year, and all the rest of the year, everyone's just fine and dandy.
Interesting.
So yeah, they're kind of inching closer and closer to the truth, but of course that's gonna put the NFFA hot on their heels.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Just like 10 people die in a week. Oh, of just what can they come?
Weird.
Natural causes.
They all got super sick.
It's 1,000 ways to die, and you just have to think of a new way to. Okay, NFFA. Like they have meetings. How are we gonna cover up this murder? Oh, she slipped on a banana. Okay, she broke her neck, fell down the stairs. Shout
out to 1,000 Ways to Die. I was on that show.
Oh, really?
We'll talk about that afterwards.
News and gossip.
Go find that. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Like we said, Estrada knew about her sister and what happened to her on Purge Night. I don't think, as far as we know anything else about Esme's sisters. So We'll see what that kind of is all about. But
Definitely
who knows?
something with Purge Night.
Ugh.
Yeah.
We got a lot of predictions to get to. Finally, let's talk about Ryan, about Tommy, about this big heist, this one final score that they're planning to kind of get them out of the game.
I mean, it's just very interesting, especially with Tommy, just being in. Tommy's the one that's in jail right now, right?
Yeah.
Just with Tommy, because I'm wondering how can he even trust anybody, even with anyone coming to visit him. I don't know how he's able to trust people. We see bruises on his face. I'm wondering if he's thinking about purging someone if they do let him out, and if he is able to get out with extra money just to get out of the country. So it's up in the air. So
Right.
It's definitely getting me mad. What is it called? Mission Impossible vibes.
Of course.
Because they're trying to hijack the plane. I'm like, what?
We're going to get some big-ass action scenes at the end of this season.
Literally, because I feel like it's so grounded right now, but then I feel like season finale, it's just going to go, like, over the top. Tom Cruise action.
Yes.
That's the thing. And, like, it's just making me think. I'm like, can USA afford to pay this off? Like, because we know that, to be fair, from what I remember, Ryan's talking about the heist happening while the planes are on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. I think that might be how we get around all that.
Okay.
I don't know if, no shade on the USA Network.
Right.
Characters welcome, of
Absolutely.
course. But I don't know if we're going to be seeing any midair action as much as I would love to see it. I think it's all going to happen on grounded planes. Speaking of grounded. But yeah, we've got this big heist. I love that Tommy knew right away. He's like, look, you didn't come to say hi.
Exactly.
I know that. It's fine.
Well, especially with all the security. I'm just wondering, can we really trust Ryan, though?
Oh, interesting.
Like, really? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Because he had something to do with it. He's not going to, put himself forward, to help Tommy out. I don't understand how it's all going to work out to actually get Tommy out. It's just, I don't know if I would trust him.
Right. Interesting. And then we meet Carl, Tommy's bank employee friend.
Yeah.
Who I love the fact that he's at the strip club where grief boxes get you free laugh dances. Like, that's just such.
Gotta get the people.
Gotta
in.
get it in.
Exactly. And
let it out somehow.
Exactly. With how many people die on Purge Night, so many people are gonna have those grief boxes. So this poor establishment is losing money hand over fist on free laugh dances, I'm sure.
I'm sure someone like Chipotle has like a $4 burrito, like they,
Wow.
for Remembrance Day. Bring in your box.
There's gotta be a list of all the deals you can get on
Bring a picture
Remembrance
of your
Day.
loved one.
And I would like to know.
Like,
so I can go around town.
You know how you see those articles where it's like, here's all the free stuff you can get on your birthday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's all the discounts you can get on Remembrance
Show us
Day.
the death certificate, and you get a discount.
Free Grand Slam at Denny's.
Buy one, get one free fries.
You're getting that free Grand Slam at Denny's.
Absolutely. Come on.
Oh,
Take advantage of it.
Give me, oh man, R.I.P. But give me that moons over my hammy. Let's see. So, what else? What else we got here? It's pretty much this whole subplot is really just kind of putting all the pieces into place for the Overton heist. We find out it's $100 million job. It's gonna allow them to get out of the country and escape the Purge, hopefully. I know we talked last season about the Purge going global,
Overseas.
going international in this kind of universe, but wouldn't that suck? Wouldn't, like, to risk all of this for this kind of a job to get out of the country and then for them to institute their own Purge?
I just want them to
Like,
stop.
where do you go?
I know. I just want them to stop talking. I'm like, okay, I want to see some action.
Right.
Yeah.
Put your money where your mouth is, literally, and put this plan into motion. I know that's, thinking ahead, but I'm like, okay, I want it to be Purge Night again so I can see this. It's a lot of talk.
Right.
It's a lot of Batman.
Exactly.
voice.
We need some
Ryan,
action.
come on, let's do it. That's all I'm saying.
So yeah, but before Ryan leaves Tommy, he gives him a book. There's not a file in there. There's not any porn in there, much to Tommy's chagrin.
I know, right?
I don't think we got a clear shot of what. I tried rewinding it. I tried pausing it. I don't think we got a clear shot of what that book was. So I think we might find that out next time. I was thinking at first it might be the Portrait of Dorian Gray. I don't know if that holds any significance. I don't know. I couldn't quite tell. In the chat, let us know if you got a clear shot of that book's title, how it might relate to Tommy's predicament. Who knows? But a lot happened in this episode, y'all.
It did.
It was good.
Right?
I'm excited for that because we're at the halfway. Well, no, we're not. Next week we will.
How many? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
10 episodes? Okay.
There we go. We got it. But yeah, so that's a whole lot unfolding as the season rolls on. We don't have Danny. We don't have news and gossip, but we got Ollie Drennan with
absolutely.
Special segment Purge or Purify.
Hey guys,
This
Danny.
is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government.
Mom.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say Danny. He's not here because he just doesn't like Remembrance Day. He
Stay safe out there, Danny.
Too close to home.
We like free stuff, but
Yeah.
you guys know what the special segment is. If you're tuning in live, please join in. If not, that's totally fine, and let us know. Would you purge or purify in this episode? And basically, I'll go first. And I would say I would purify this episode. And what I would purify is Ryan's voice, because it's so raspy and like Christian Bale, Batman. I'm kind of giving my cough drop some tea, just purge it, because it almost sounds like a voiceover. That's like I love the show. That's my one critique.
It's his voice. Just stop talking.
He's like, okay, purge. Okay, we're gonna do this heist, and I'm like, Ryan,
He's a man's man.
get yourself some Ricola or something. But I don't know. What do you guys
Ricola.
think? Would you purge in this episode, or would you purify in this episode? Ooh. And what would it be, possibly? Let me know.
Jamie, what do you think?
I would definitely purify Ben, because he's just he needs healing. I was gonna say purge at first, just because I was like, he should have just purged Turner and got it over with. But it's like, you're at a party, it would have been too easy. Especially, I would have rather him purged her than that innocent girl in the hallway. But just to heal him, let's purify Ben and hope for the best.
Right. I'm going with purge, and I think I would go ahead and purge.
Right.
Yep. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go ahead and purge Ben's new buddy that he made at the Purge USA store, because man, Ben's already so far gone. He doesn't need any extra pushes in the direction of being just a full-on murderer. Like,
do not give him that automatic crossbow.
Exactly. Enough. He's gonna do enough damage with that hunting knife. You know what it's gonna be? Here's what it's gonna be.
With a bolt or rock, he even did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what I think Ben's arc. What I would like to see it plan out. Have you guys ever heard that story of the paperclip and the person kept trading it for bigger and bigger things?
No.
Is that
elaborate?
You guys know about that? Okay, so it's a story. Forgive me, I don't know if it's a real story. I don't know if it's apocryphal at this point.
Okay.
The story is someone took a paperclip and they were able to trade it for slightly more valuable things, and they kept doing that over and over and over and over until it was like a grand piano or something like that.
Damn.
And so I feel like that's like the purge version. That's what we're seeing with Ben. Like, he's gonna start with a hunting knife. Each person he kills is gonna have a bigger weapon that he's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger elaborate weapons until he's just wrecking people.
A tank.
Exactly.
Him in a tank on Purge Night.
Whatever we know that like nukes aren't allowed on Purge Night, but like that's kind of it, I feel. I think tanks would be. Yeah.
Have some limitations on Purge Night.
Exactly. Let's chill. Let's be realistic here. But I feel like that's what, I don't know if that's really gonna happen, but I think that would be funny to see. Just keeps exchanging weapons for bigger, better, deadlier purge fare. Who knows? Ryan, can you look up that paperclip thing? I'm
looking it up
just to make sure I'm not crazy. I know
he's ready.
I mean, it makes sense for his character arc too, because he's just getting worse and worse. So to see him actually make more gorier or more brutal kills.
And I think that's what it is. Even if it's not like weapons wise, I think like just mentally he's becoming so much more comfortable with it.
In the beginning with the dummy scene where he was beating the
oh my
crap
god.
out of him.
Just putting a shit kicking on this poor dummy.
If I was Kellen, I'd be looking at him like sideways.
Right. She's
Wow.
just over there chilling, like.
So it's a true story.
Is it a
It's
true
from
story?
a man named MacDonald.
Okay.
Where he had a red paperclip.
Got it.
And he traded it for a fish-shaped pen.
Amazing.
And then after 14 more transactions, he was trading a movie role for a house.
That's dope. I love
Wow.
that.
I've heard of this. I don't
Right?
know where, but that rings a bell. He got a house at the end of it for a movie role.
Thank you.
Wow.
Our fantastic producer, Ryan, on the ones and
Yes.
twos, everyone. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So with that all being said, let's get into our favorite part of the show. Let's get into some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What are we thinking, guys? Where to even begin?
I'll start with Michelle, Marcus's current wife. Clearly, she's still up to something, but I noticed that when he talked about the man that Tanya saw, who was tall with very dark, long hair, her face completely changed. So it's something to do with her for sure, but I'm just wondering, how does that relate to, him almost being run over, things like that. With Ben, he's definitely going down a terrible path, but I feel like it could get down to the point where he could possibly kill his girlfriend or be about to, just because she's so oblivious. I feel like he is literally playing with death. So he might start to do it with his loved ones, and I'll just keep it at that so far.
I like that. Oh, what do you think?
I'm like trying to map it all out right now. I'm literally writing what's happening.
By the time this season's over, we're gonna have like a big ass corkboard with like thread, like all right, here.
We're all gonna be Esme. Well, I'm gonna start off basic and think that the final episodes will be Purge Night. We're gonna make it to Purge Night. Mm-hmm. We're gonna like see these characters transition throughout the year.
You made a good point that time is happening so fast. The first episode was on Purge Night. We're already 3 months in, so I think you're on the right track.
So I think it has to be, or even like the season finale. Well, we'll see.
Right.
I think Ben is going to eventually prove the fact that yes, people will get more violent through purging in the night. I don't know how. Maybe Darren's going to play in the factor, going to get his ass or something.
For sure.
They have to prove this I can't say the word statistic right, that it is the fact that the NFFA is covering everything up, and hopefully Ben, we're seeing him become this killer, become more violent. So he has to be the catalyst of proving the fact that fact. And lastly, I think Darren and Esme. I don't think Esme's in too much hot water yet, but I think her and Darren are going to continue to work together. And then I said it, we're going to see that blonde lady, that evil, creepy blonde lady.
The police chief.
Yeah. I don't know her name.
Yeah.
If we got her name yet.
Was it
sick woman?
The sick woman.
I don't think it was Reynolds. I think Reynolds was a different cop, but yeah.
But I think she's definitely going to try to throw a wrench into Ryan's plan.
Sure. Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
I think Esme's definitely playing with fire, as we already saw in terms of her superiors at the NFFA. More than that, I'm starting to wonder if maybe by the end of the season we're going to see Tommy turn on Ryan and the gang, and
one or the other.
Right, and use that money. I feel like too much of the show has been invested in Ryan. I think we can trust him. Doug and Sarah we're not sure. I don't know. But I think
I know, right?
Tommy might maybe
those two might turn on him.
Maybe Tommy and Carl. Maybe Tommy and Carl are in cahoots. 100 million's it's a lot of money.
And everyone is being promised money. It's like, is everyone really going to be able to have access to this money at the end of the day?
Right.
All these false promises.
They're not going to kill each other.
That's the thing.
Exactly. So it's like, who can you trust? Who can you trust?
They're putting a whole lot of trust in Ryan. We'll see. Who knows? If you guys have any of your predictions, no matter how weird they are, honestly, the weirder the better. I love completely out there fan theories and predictions. If you're on Twitter, hit us up. If you're on Instagram, hit us up. If you're on iTunes, download, comment, review, subscribe, rate 5 stars if you're nasty. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up. We love talking about The Purge. We know y'all do. Let's all do it together. But guys, let's go down the table and tell them where they can find you.
Yes, thanks for tuning in, guys. Cassandra, Nicole, we see you in the chat. We love you guys. I am Ollie Drennan. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ollie Drennan. Okay, I'm sorry. At Ollie Dreamer. And check me out on Total Divas coming up soon on AfterBuzz TV tonight.
There you go, Jamie Gray.
Right, thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter at It's Jamie Gray or on Instagram at Jamie Gray, JAIMIGRAY. And I'm also on How to Get Away with Murder. You can catch us this Thursday. Subscribe to the drama channel and so much more. And the anime panel with Ollie this Sunday.
There it is. As always, y'all can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's PlayStation, all that stuff. You can also find me on Tuesdays on XPOC12360. We had a fantastic episode today talking about his time in Japan, all that good stuff. You can find me on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And if you're in Southern California at the Pack Theater as a brand new member of the Friendo sketch team. Whole lot happening. But as for AfterBuzz TV, we'll be right back here next week, same time, same channel, talking Season 2, Episode 5 of The Purge. Y'all know what it is. But until then, Stay safe.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.